though an act of Congress was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that America was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did it give the land, it built land-grant colleges to teach them how to farm. Not only that, it provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, as the years unfolded, it provided low interest rates so that they could mechanize their farms. And to this day, thousands of these very persons are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies every year not to farm. And these are so often the very people who tell Negroes that they must lift themselves up by their own bootstraps. It's all right to tell a man to lift themselves up by their own bootstraps, but it is a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself up by his own bootstraps. Now that's Dr. King. And you know, when I repeat these things, people say, wow, I didn't know Dr. King said that. Why don't you know? Because they don't want you to know. Now, the last thing I'm going to say to give you the meaning of or else. You ready? Yes, sir. Excerpts of Dr. King's words from April 3rd, 1968, the night before he was assassinated. His "I've been to the mountaintop" speech. It's called The Power of Economic Withdrawal. Now, the other thing he said we'll have to do is this: always anchor our external direct action with the power of economic withdrawal. Now, we are poor people. Individually, we are poor. Never stop and forget that collectively, that means all of us together, collectively, we are richer than most of the nations in the world, with the exception of 9. He said, did you ever think about that? After you leave the United States, Soviet Russia, Great Britain, West Germany, France, and I could name the others, the American Negro collectively is richer than most nations of the world. We have an annual income of more than $30 billion a year at that time, which is more than all of the exports of the United States and more than the national budget of Canada. Did you know that? That's power right there if we know how to pool it. It's Dr. King. Now, it was 30 billion then, it's 1.3 trillion now. Right. Let me finish. He said, we don't have to argue with anybody. We don't have to curse and go around acting bad with our words. We don't need any bricks and bottles. We don't need any Molotov cocktails. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country and say, quote, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. Come on, Dr. King. And we've come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you are not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. And our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. Are you ready? I got to get a little bit more water. We're in the last stretch. I can see the tape. So I got to gird up my loins because I got to run across this finish line. Look at this. So as a result of this, we are asking you tonight to go out and tell your neighbors not to buy Coca-Cola in Memphis. Go by and tell them not to buy Sealtest milk. Tell them not to buy Wonder Bread. And what is the other bread company, Jesse? Tell them not to buy Hart's bread. As Jesse Jackson has said up to now, only the garbage men have been feeling pain. Now we must redistribute the pain.
Go ahead, Minister.
You like that? Now see, God is making them feel pain. Oh, he's whooping them good. But on our level, $1.3 trillion is a nice piece of change. Now look at this. Just suppose we start teaching our people that we're going to withdraw economic support this Christmas. Wait a minute. I want you to hear me, Reverend. Because you've been doing pagan things in the name of Jesus Christ. And I want to help you out of that. No tree should be in your church. Did you hear your brother? Go home tonight and open up the 10th chapter of Jeremiah. Because you're doing the thing that the heathens did. They cut a tree down in the forest and they nailed it down and they fastened them with silver and gold. Is that what you're doing? Heathen. Heathen. That's the word. Jesus was a good man. But what do you do? Christmas. Yeah, because you've been to Turkey and they've been roasting you all the time. So look, brother and sister. But I want to hit Christmas like this. Well, I promised my girlfriend I was going to give her something for Christmas. Then give her something yourself. What's better than you? With a real loving embrace and kind words of love and affection for your wife, for your mother. What about your precious daughter? Suppose instead of going out buying something that don't fit, and you have to take it back on the Monday after to try to get your money back, keep your money in your pocket and make Christmas a time to celebrate Jesus as Jesus should be, and to hell with Santa Claus, who is robbing Jesus of the honor that Jesus is due. Talk back to me. See? You broke and you get more broke trying to give gifts. And the merchant is waiting for you. Because if there's a good Christmas, that gives the economy a boost for most of the year until Easter comes. Then you out there buying clothes. I don't know whether Jesus told you nothing like that. An Easter bonnet. Oh, you just heathens. And you don't even know the white man has tricked you. You're going to bring your little black child to sit on Santa's lap. Tell Santa what you want for Christmas, darling. And you the real Santa. Excuse me. And you give the credit for your hard work to this fat man from the North Pole. You know what the subliminal message is? What my black mama and daddy couldn't do for me, this white man from the North Pole did it for me. And that's why I will always look to white people, because they always do good for us. When these black folks, my own husband, my own father, he couldn't give me nothing for Christmas, that bum. So, brother and sister, just suppose we made all black America keep the money in their pocket. Now look at this. Look at this. Just suppose you kept that money in your pocket. How much richer would you be next year and less debt? The credit card company raping you with high interest rates. Cut it off. And then learn what to do with your money. See, land is the key. Land is the key. I close. No, not yet. You can thank me when I say Assalamu alaikum. Now, I have Scott Muhammad. Where's Brother Scott?
Yes, sir.
Come on up here, brother. Come on, Scott. This was at the last minute I sent for my brother. But this brother, how you doing, Scott? How's the family? This brother lived in Chicago for many years, working with Reverend Bevel. He taught urban gardening. The young so-called gang bangers. He taught them how to turn vacant lots into land that could grow good food to water the food desert. When they put their product at a marketplace, the police came and stopped them. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
That's why I have police here. Right, look, you are a stakeholder, and so are we. We don't want to fight police. We want to work together for the good of the city. That's right. Yes, we do. You're a stakeholder, and so are we. The inner city is exploding with murder, rape, robbery, death, and destruction because our young people have no respect for life. But if, with the city's approval, we took urban land that's not doing anything, and we started making urban farming a culture among us. Here's my daughter, she's teaching it. Brother Scott is teaching it. There's some in this audience that are not just teaching it, they're doing it. These young so-called gangbangers, you think they are not as good as you or better? These are not thugs and criminals like our president said. They are the people of God who have been tricked into the death that is in this valley. But my daughter, She made 12,000 seedlings this year. And we had students from the university at the farm planting them. And like a mother, I watched my daughter watch these little seedlings. We met a man named Will Allen. And Will taught us how to make soil. He said, what? He said, do you know how to make soil? I said, I never heard of that. I showed him the land. He said, no, I'm talking about making soil. He showed us how. We went to work. All the scraps that people throw away in terms of food stuff, not meats and things like that, but fruits and vegetables, that helps. And we went and got a man around the corner that had all these wood chips. We loaded our dump truck up, loaded the dump truck, went back with piles and piles of wood chips for free. All the man wanted was us to buy him some donuts. We was happy. And the farmers around there had watermelons that had gone past the time. They had pumpkins. They had apples. We went to the farmers. We'll take them gladly. He said, you'll take them? Oh, sure. Then he didn't have to dump them. We did. We took the nitrogen that's in that and put it with the carbon that's in the wood chips. And after a while, it started to break down and produce earth. See, that's what you come from and what I come from. And when we know how to treat the earth and take care of the earth, then the earth and what it produces will take care of us. See, brother and sister, look, I know, okay, I got to get out of here. I know. So suppose we sat down with Mayor Rahm Emanuel. Wait a minute. We got bargaining power.
Yes, we do. That's right.
He wants a better city.
Yes, sir.
This is a tourist town.
Yes, sir.
He don't want the violence of the inner city to come downtown. So let's keep our town straight. Now, white police, let me say this. Can nobody train you to be respectful to us if you got a racist mind?
Go ahead.
You don't like us.
Go ahead.
You don't know us. You didn't grow up with us. You have very little feeling for us.
Go ahead.
So we can help you if you want to be helped. But if this killing continues, it might be bad for all of us. I think we could make an offer that you can't refuse. And we'll police our own community and tell you going back to your community. We don't need no white people policing us. If they're not going to respect us, then go the hell on where you live and shoot up your people. Because we're not going to take you shooting up ours much longer. But you see how weak I sound telling them we're not going to let you shoot us up. And before we can get out of here tonight, we're shooting each other up. See, the war that we fight has to be on two fronts. We got to clean up our own community and stop the killing of ourselves by ourselves. Then put our young people to work creating life and a farmer's market. Take the money, bring it back to the youth that are farming the land. Look at the buildings that are vacant, that are not doing nothing for the city. We'll sit down with the city and the banks and take that property. And a man who knows the trades, teach these young people how to build. And then let them go in under your tutelage and fix up old buildings. Yeah, we got people that will give money to see that happen.
Yes, sir.
Then sell the house to somebody that wants a good house for a good price and put the money in your treasure. We don't need to beg them for a job. Isaiah the prophet said we would rebuild the wasted cities. We don't have to kill each other. We don't have to sell drugs. We don't have to pimp our women. We just go to work with land. And then when they see us turning the cities into oases, the food desert is finished. And people are eating healthy food, driving these fast food death merchants out of town.
That's right.
By giving our people good, clean, organic food that we grow. It's just vision. Because where there's no vision, the people perish. Now, I know I've been up here a long time. But you can't defeat one thing I said and say I lied. I may have stretched out a little. But brother and sister, our world is in front of us. I thank Allah tonight that the great co-convener of the Million Man March, who delivered Washington, that whole city turned out because of Reverend Willie Wilson. Would you stand up, Reverend Wilson? Chicago turned out because there was an Al Sampson, a Conrad Worrell, a Hakeem Madhubuti, an Eddie Reed, and a Reverend Demas, and so many more pastors that we worked together and moved on Washington. But this time, brothers, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, like Dr. King, you don't have to fire a shot. But if we come together in unity, the power of our unity will be greater than a hydrogen and an atomic bomb. Don't let them divide us against each other, and we will be victorious. I close with this word. Elijah Muhammad said, I can't promise you that you won't get a hickey on your head. I can't promise you that some of you won't go to jail. I can't promise you that some of us won't lose our lives. He said, but what I can promise you is victory. Now, a man that's honest like that, then we ought to line up, straighten up, man up, woman up, family up, church up, mosque up, synagogue up, all of us jumping up. And to Father Michael Pfleger, you're a very special human being. Prophet Muhammad was a white man, but we love him because he was a good man.
That's right.
When you meet a good man, you're not worried about his skin color if he's going to do right. Father Pfleger's a do-right man. So,
That's right.
now, with this movie that's being done by Spike Lee called Chirac, it's created a lot of argument and controversy and tension. Names. We can argue over a name, but we cannot argue over the reality. In Iraq, I was there. 3 days before the bombs fell, I was there. I saw Muslims, Christians, Jews living together under Saddam Hussein. I saw Shia and Sunni together under Saddam Hussein. Until America got there. Look at Gaddafi. He was a light for Africa. He loved Africa. He spent billions in Africa to help Africans rise. Yes, he did. And for the President of the United States to ask him to step down when he's had the only country in the world that had no debt. 400 tons, I think it was, of gold. 100 what? Thank you for correcting me. I wish it was 400 tons. But we're never supposed to tell other than the truth. So I thought it was 400, but thank you, brother. How many? 144. That's the stars that would rise in the last days. 144,000, but this is 144 tons of gold. He didn't steal nothing. He took billions of dollars from oil, put it in the desert, and brought water up out of the desert and made the desert flower where agriculture became so great that they could feed their own population. I was there when he built a $500 billion hospital. And we walked through that hospital that had 18 operating theaters. Next door, they were creating medicines. Don't you allow this enemy to take your babies when you bring them into the world and inject them